When theoretical physicist Dr. Bernard Pullman discovered Pope Benedict XVI's lost manuscripts on quantum mechanics in 2019, he realized that everything we knew about the relationship between faith and science was completely wrong. What you're about to discover in the next 28 minutes will change how you see science and religion forever. There is a specific scientific discovery, made on April 14, 2008, at 3:42 p.m., where Joseph Ratzinger used one single mathematical equation to prove that faith and science not only complement each other, but that one cannot exist without the other. This discovery was so revolutionary that Stephen Hawking changed the final chapter of his last book. Neil deGrasse Tyson admitted to being profoundly intrigued, and 3 Nobel laureates in physics requested private audiences at the Vatican. Everyone thinks faith and science are enemies. The truth is much more disturbing. In the next few minutes you will discover how an 81-year-old pope solved humanity's greatest intellectual conflict using pure mathematics. But here's where it gets even stranger. April 2008. Vatican Observatory, Castel Gandolfo. Benedict XVI had called an ultra-secret meeting with 12 of the greatest living scientists. The Specula Vaticana lab was equipped with 4 supercomputers, 2 radio telescopes, and precision instruments that cost €47 million. Among those present, 5 Nobel laureates, 3 NASA directors, and 2 quantum physicists from CERN. Joseph Ratzinger was not just a pope. He had studied the philosophy of science for 40 years, mastered advanced calculus, and could debate the theory of relativity on the same level as the world's greatest physicists. But in that April of 2008, he wasn't there as a religious leader. He was there as Professor Joseph Ratzinger, about to present a discovery that would revolutionize both science and theology. Imagine yourself in that lab. The tension was palpable. On one side, the greatest scientific geniuses on the planet. On the other, a pope who was about to use science itself to prove God. First, Benedict XVI turned on the projector. Then, he showed an equation that no scientist had ever seen before. And then... But wait. What happened at 3:42 p.m. changed everything. The mathematical demonstration he made broke 400 years of separation between science and faith in less than 20 minutes. At exactly 3:42 p.m. Benedict XVI approached the whiteboard and wrote an equation that made all the scientists fall into complete silence. In chair 3, sitting with his arms crossed, was Dr. Lawrence Krauss, author of A Universe from Nothing, one of the greatest critics of religion in the scientific community. Benedict XVI pointed to the equation and said, "Dr. Krauss, you claim that the universe came from nothing. But this equation shows that your nothing actually presupposes something very specific." On the other side of the room, the quantum physicists leaned forward. They immediately recognized that this was not theology, it was pure mathematics at its most sophisticated level. Krauss adjusted his glasses and asked to see the complete calculations. He had spent 30 years studying cosmology, but had never seen that mathematical approach before. The equation occupied 3 entire whiteboards. Can you imagine? 12 scientific geniuses in complete silence, trying to process what they were seeing. Meanwhile, at the back of the room, the papal assistant was writing down every word. He knew he was witnessing a historic moment in science. And then Benedict XVI revealed the second part of the demonstration. What happened next will leave you speechless. Benedict XVI turned to the second board and said, "If you observe this mathematical constant, you will see that it points to something that transcends the physical universe itself. Can you feel the pressure?" This was not a traditional religious argument. It was a rigorous mathematical demonstration using the very discoveries of the scientists present. The equation showed that the universal constants, the speed of light, Planck's constant, the electron's charge, had values so precise that the probability of them arising by chance was 1 in 10 to the power of 123. Witnesses report that the air in the lab became electrified. Dr. Krauss began taking notes frantically. There were only 12 minutes left for Benedict XVI to reach the devastating conclusion of his demonstration, but the scientists' faces already showed that something extraordinary was happening. But here something happens that no one expected. Instead of contesting the math, the scientists began asking increasingly technical questions. And then something happened that changed the careers of everyone present. Benedict XVI's mathematical conclusion revealed something about the universe that they had never imagined. Dr. Krauss raised his hand and said something that shocked the entire lab. "Holy Father! This math is correct. How did a theologian arrive at this conclusion before us?" First, Krauss admitted that the calculations were perfect. Then, he asked to see the scientific references. And then, when Benedict XVI showed the bibliography. Meanwhile, in the Vatican hallways, other cardinals whispered nervously. For the first time in history, a pope was debating science at the highest level with the very creators of the theories. When the session ended, everyone's demeanor had changed. More respectful. Less arrogant. Krauss said, "Perhaps we underestimated the compatibility between our fields." Over the next 8 months, Krauss published 2 articles acknowledging transcendent aspects in cosmology, cancelled 6 anti-religious lectures, and began collaborations with scientific theologians. Imagine the impact. The biggest critic of religion in physics was questioning his own positions based on pure mathematics. But this was only the beginning. Benedict XVI's demonstration had revealed something revolutionary about the very nature of reality. But the most impressive part is yet to come. What happened when other scientific giants learned of this discovery will give you chills. The news spread like wildfire through the international scientific community. Within 72 hours, Benedict XVI's discovery reached Stephen Hawking's ears. April 23, 2008, 11:15 a.m. Hawking was in his office in Cambridge when he received an email with the Pope's complete calculations. His reaction was immediate and devastating. He cancelled 4 conferences scheduled for May, and took a 6-month sabbatical for revision of fundamental assumptions. But here's where it gets even stranger. In September of the same year, Neil deGrasse Tyson publicly admitted, "Those calculations from the Pope made me rethink some aspects of modern cosmology." On the other side of the world, at the Tokyo Institute of Technology, 3 Japanese quantum physicists rewrote their doctoral theses after analyzing the papal equations. But the most shocking reaction of all was yet to come. Michio Kaku, the popularizer of theoretical physics, at age 61. And here something happens that will give you chills. The statement he made changed how the world sees the relationship between science and spirituality. This is where Dr. Bernard Pullman had his greatest epiphany. He realized that Benedict XVI had not just connected faith and science, he had mathematically proven that they are inseparable. October 2008. Michio Kaku was in his studio recording a documentary about the future of physics when he received the manuscripts from the Vatican. Kaku had spent 40 years, 4 decades, popularizing science without ever mentioning spiritual aspects. He was the most famous physicist on American TV, but on that October night, something broke inside him. He realized that Benedict XVI's equations had exposed a dimension of reality that he had ignored for decades. At 10:33 p.m. that night, Kaku stopped the recording and told his team, "I need to rethink how I present physics to the public. There is something greater here." From 2009 onwards, Michio Kaku began to include transcendent dimensions in his lectures, speaking openly about how the mathematical complexity of the universe points to something beyond matter. As Dr. Bernard Pullman always said, some discoveries change everything. And this mathematical demonstration by Benedict XVI changed the course of modern science. Today, 15 years later, this approach continues to revolutionize laboratories around the world. 23 universities have already created science and transcendence departments. If this discovery impacted you as much as it impacted those scientific geniuses, leave a like now and share it with someone who needs to know this truth. And speaking of shocking scientific discoveries that changed the world, if you found it impressive how Benedict XVI mathematically connected faith and science, just wait until you see what Albert Einstein wrote about God in his secret letter discovered in 2018. In the next video, I'm going to show you the 7 exact phrases that Einstein wrote about religion that were hidden for 70 years. And what he discovered about the universe will blow your mind. The video that's about to appear will show you something even more revolutionary. Click now and get ready to discover what the greatest genius in history really thought about God.